What's going on, guys? B. Scott here with you on today's show. We got your tight end sit starts heading in to week number 12. We're already 12 weeks into the season. It's time to look at the tight end position. And so the way I like to do it, I like to go through your must starts, and then I go through a couple sits and a couple stream options heading into the week. So keep it locked and loaded right here at the first 4 downs. What's going on, guys, and welcome back. As I mentioned through the preview, we're going through the tight ends heading into week number 12, the tight end position. It's always fun every single week, given you never know what's going to happen at this point, like I mentioned in the waiver wire video. And the NFL is a whole. Who knows what's happening on a weekly basis, but we do our best to give you the best information possible to make the correct decision. So let's look at the tight end position heading into week number 12. But before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff, and then comment. If there's a tight end you want to hear more about, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my opinions. Start this tight end over that tight end, whatever questions you got, drop in the comment section. I always answer all the comments. So let's start the way I like to do it. Your must-start tight ends. I got my top 10 this week that I like. And we'll start at the top. George Kittle, you're starting him. Plain and simple. 3 straight weeks with a touchdown. He's got the Minnesota Vikings. Kind of a tough-ish spot against the tight end position, but George Kittle's been outstanding since returning from injury, so you're starting him. Mark Andrews, playing the Cleveland Browns. Really almost quarterback-proof. He played pretty well even with Tyler Huntley. Hopefully Lamar Jackson's back. A good divisional matchup here. Mark Andrews, you got him. Start him. You're starting him, set and forget it. Kyle Pitts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, yes, had a little bit of a letdown. I had a feeling it was going to be tough against the New England defense that usually erases your number one guy, and at that point, it was Kyle Pitts. So this week, I think he can bounce back. He's got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty favorable matchup, so Kyle Pitts, you're starting. Darren Waller at the Dallas Cowboys had a big bounce back last week, cleared the 100-yard mark, 8 targets, 7 catches for 116 yards. Now he's got the Dallas Cowboys. They've been susceptible to giving up a lot of yards to the tight end position, so I like Darren Waller this week. Dalton Schultz on the flip side in that game. I love him as a start as well. 8 targets last week, and the pass catchers are banged up for the Dallas Cowboys. No Amari Cooper, more than likely no CeeDee Lamb. We'll have to wait and see if he can get cleared. I highly doubt it in 2 days, but if he does, or if he doesn't, Dalton Schultz, a great option this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. Dawson Knox at the New Orleans Saints. Tough spot. New Orleans has been pretty tough against tight end position, but Dawson Knox is playing pretty well. The Buffalo Bills offense has just been out of sync. Who knows who's going to show up on any given week with Buffalo? I don't understand. Now they're on the road. New Orleans defense played pretty well, albeit they got spanked by the Philadelphia Eagles. But Dawson Knox, 10 targets, 6 catches for 80 yards. That's an outstanding line for a tight end. So Dawson Knox, you're starting him. Noah Fant versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I like him this week as a start. Divisional game. Los Angeles Chargers give up the second most fantasy points to the tight end position. Noah Fant's a talented player. There's just a lot of mouths to feed over there. And with Albert O coming back at the tight end position, it's really cut those targets. But I want to say the game before the bye, 6-7 targets he saw. I just like him this week as a good solid option. Rob Gronkowski, another guy back from injury at the Indianapolis Colts. Great spot here. Indianapolis, not very good against the tight end position. And Rob Gronkowski, 8 targets, 6 catches for 71 yards, stepped right back in. They have that connection with Tom Brady. He's got that connection with Tom Brady, I should say. So you're firing him. Pat Freiermuth at the Cincinnati Bengals, another good divisional matchup game. AFC North playing each other this week. Freiermuth, 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. And he's just an effective target. And at the tight end position at this point, you got to be starting him. Even with Ebron coming back, he found the end zone. Ebron found the end zone too. But Pat Freiermuth is just finding the end zone, especially at a high rate. So you got to be starting him. Mike Gesicki, target machine. He's played in the Carolina Panthers. Tough defense, but 6 targets, 5 catches, 50 yards. And Gesicki on the season, number 3 or number 4 tight end, played very well, and his target share is huge. So you got to be starting him. And then I got the guys in the middle, guys that more than likely I'll get questions about, so I'll just mention them, but I don't really necessarily love them. I don't hate them either. Tyler Higbee, honestly, 10-point ceiling. That's the only reason I got him here as a guy in between. He just isn't scoring a lot of fantasy points. Yeah, he had a touchdown last week, 3 catches, 20 yards against the Niners, but I still don't love his outlook on a weekly basis. If you want to start him, it's not a terrible matchup, but not a great one either. TJ Hawkinson, he's just a volume king. He's seen, I want to say, 73 targets on the season. That's 5th most at the tight end position. For the volume you're seeing, you got to probably be starting him here. Now, yes, Tim Boyle, I think, is the quarterback that could be under center on Thursday playing the Chicago Bears. And Chicago's pretty tough against tight end position, so I don't love Hawkinson's outlook. But Hawkinson's been pretty safe outside of last week's dud. He's had a couple of disappearing acts, but I still would probably start him here. Dallas Goedert, he's been effective, but 0 touchdowns since week 4. Philadelphia Eagles just running the ball very heavily. So I don't necessarily love Goddard's outlook, but he's been pretty safe with yards and receptions, getting it done on an okay level considering how bad the tight ends are. And it's not the tight ends' fault. Tight ends are great, outstanding players. The problem is the offensive schemes, they just don't utilize them in a lot of offenses. So, and then Dan Arnold, I have him in this no man's land, coming off a game with 0 targets at all, not even one. And he was averaging 7 targets per game with the Jacksonville Jaguars before last week's 0 spot. I guess if you want to fire him up, I understand, on the hopes that he still could be seeing 6 to 7 targets. Obviously, no Jamal Agnew, so that helps. Hopefully, they work out the target share there. But if you got to start him, I understand. Now I want to talk about a couple guys that I'd probably be sitting this week. One's going to be Tyler Conklin. He's at San Francisco 49ers. They are pretty tough against tight end position on the season as a whole. Now, yes, 3 of their last 4 games, they've given up a touchdown to a tight end. So Conklin needs a touchdown to get his work. Just 3 targets last week for Conklin. Not necessarily great. And San Francisco hasn't allowed a tight end over 38 yards, period, since week 1. So it's just a touchdown or bust game for Tyler Conklin, and I don't love his outlook. So he'd be sitting for me this week. Another guy I don't necessarily love, it's hard to sit, but Hunter Henry. Complete touchdown dependent tight end, but he's getting the touchdowns. 7 touchdowns on the season. He's got 7 touchdowns on 33 total receptions. That's an insane rate. He's beating Tonyan at the moment for touchdown rate per reception, considering last year with Tonyan with 11. So I don't love the matchup. Playing the Tennessee Titans, 3rd fewest fantasy points to the tight end position. Hasn't allowed a tight end to a touchdown to a tight end in the last 3 weeks. And Tennessee has not allowed a 10-point half PPR tight end on the season at all. So if you're in a half-point scoring, they have not allowed a tight end to have over 10 fantasy points. So I don't love the outlook of Hunter Henry. Last week, you've seen it what his floor kind of is. Without a touchdown, 3 targets, 2 catches, 25 yards. Jonnu Smith returns to the lineup. And then this week, going against the Tennessee Titans, little Jonnu Smith revenge game. I'm not sitting here saying to fire up Jonnu Smith by any means, but maybe he sees a little more in action this week. So Hunter Henry, I got him as a potential sit. Now, yes, if you got to start him, I understand. He's been pretty solid production. He's got a lot of touchdowns. So Hunter Henry, for me, is just a sit. I don't love the matchup. So on to a couple guys that I like to stream this week. One's Evan Ingram. Now, yes, he didn't do well yesterday, but the whole Giants offense as a whole looked absolutely poor. They fire the offensive coordinator. They get rid of Jason Garrett, get him up on out of here. The New York Giants playing the Tampa Bay Bucks. And the Bucks, their defense is actually getting better, and the secondary is getting healthier. And you see it. It's coming along. It's going to be scary, come December for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, to be honest, if you're a team facing them. But I like Evan Ingram on the outlook. Philadelphia Eagles, most fantasy points to the tight end position, most in every category. That means touchdowns, receptions, and yards. Philadelphia Eagles giving up the most to the tight end position. So Evan Ingram, I like him as a start this week. I could see a decent amount of volume here. This game is a good divisional game. It could be a back and forth scoring affair. Philly likes to score some points too. So, and on top of that, it's a new offensive coordinator. We don't know who it is yet, but who knows? Maybe they utilize the strengths of the tight end, knowing that Philly struggles against it. So I like Evan Ingram as a potential stream option this week. And my last stream option, it's going to be Austin Hooper of the Cleveland Browns. Now, it's not a lovely name by any means, and he's been effective in spurts, but he has not lived up to the contract he got when he went to Cleveland. I'll tell you that much. But he's at the Baltimore Ravens. It's not necessarily a great spot, but not a bad spot. They've been pretty good against tight ends over the last couple weeks, but they've been susceptible early on in the season. And what did the Cleveland Browns do well? Run the ball, play action pass, and utilize their tight ends to the best extent of almost any football team, to be honest. So, and Austin Hooper, 5 targets in 3 of his last 4 games, 4 receptions in 3 of those 4. Baltimore Ravens, like I mentioned, 5th most fantasy points to the tight end position, the 4th most yards, and they've given up 6 touchdowns to the tight ends. I like Austin Hooper as a potential start. 7 targets last week, 4 catches, 53 yards. That's a very serviceable number. And yes, David Njoku, that's my only other tight end where I'm on the fence with Austin Hooper being honestly a better play, because David Njoku is very talented and could break out in this game. I mean, it's a pick 'em. But I like Austin Hooper's outlook based on the matchup, based on the production, and based on what Cleveland is doing well. Baker Mayfield's banged up. He's really not been effective throwing the ball downfield. So I like Austin Hooper as a potential stream option heading in to week number 12. So that's it. That's my tight end spiel. That's my tight end sit starts heading in to week number 12 of fantasy football. So once again, if you like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff, and then comment. If there's a tight end you want to talk more about or one that I mentioned and didn't give you enough clarity, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my opinions on this week's matchup. So for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott, and I'm out.